Hey guys, what's up and welcome to another YouTube video. My name is Leopoldo Perella and I create videos about user experience design, web design and the overall design process. On today's video, I thought about taking you behind the scenes on how I get ready to start a website design project. I will be sharing with you how I set up folders to share with my clients using Google Drive, how I set up Adobe XD so that I have everything ready to start the project, and then some of the tools or tips I use to be able to move from design to development much easier. If you're interested in finding out more about this, stay tuned.
This a ticket talking margin for the figures. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
One of the things I have found to be the most helpful when working with creative teams and even just on a one-to-one project with a CEO is the way that a project is organized. And it is key to start with organizing your project from the start so that whenever you are communicating with your clients or sharing files and whatnot, it is easy for both parties to be able to do all this without confusing or having to call one another to be like, hey, where's this folder? Or hey, where do I drop this photos? So one of the things I always do is that I start by creating Google Drive folder. I have already templated this for me, so I know all the folders that I will need on projects. This is based on previous projects. And what I normally do is that I share this folder with my client within a week or so before our project starts. Now the key for this folder, what I want the clients to do at first is to be able to drop all the photos, all the content that I have given them a list of that I know that I will need for the project. And then as we continue to work on the project, I will be posting information here, files, content, edited images and whatnot for them to be able to see. Now with Google Drive, one of the great things is that it also allows me to get constructive feedback from the project. So let's say we are working on a story brand project or a website and we need to write the content for it. I normally post it on Google Drive and then I get comments and feedback from the client, and then I also share my feedback with them. Now once the project is completed, I normally just keep the Google Drive folder or I move my client's folder into Dropbox where I have a lot of space available for them. One of the great things about this is that most of my clients later on they might come back for another project. It might not be to redesign a full website, but it might just be to design a deck or to design a new marketing material. So now that I have all the content saved that I needed before, I'm able to just access this content with ease and update it when it's needed. Now the second thing that I do is I like to set up a style guide on Adobe XD. And if you're wondering what style guide on Adobe XD, I want you to think about a brand guideline where you get like a PDF or a little book that tells you the colors of the brand, the fonts that you are using, how to use the logos correctly, the way your business card should look like and all that. You can do the exact same thing with a website design or an app design. So I create this style guide folder or artboard that has everything that I will need and most importantly everything that will be duplicated throughout the website. Now with Adobe XD, and I am sure with any other visual designer, you can create global elements. What this means is that let's say you have a main call to action on your website placed multiple times. You do not want to go on each canvas or each artboard that you created to edit this CTA. Imagine if you have, 20 screens that you have to edit, you will have to go one by one and do that. So in the style guide, what I do is that anything that is going to be a global element, I add it here. So whenever I need to update one of these elements, I update it in this file and it will update throughout the entire design. Now this is quite helpful when you want to speed up the process, when there are some elements that are going to be consistent throughout the project, and especially if you have to give this design file to a developer to work on. Now if you're working on the development yourself, it will also be very helpful for you to be able to see the size of the fonts, the colors that you're going to be using, the hexadecimal code, and everything else that you will need. Now with Adobe XD, one of the other things that you can do is character styles. And a character styles, what it does is that it tells the developer exactly what font you have used and the size of the font. You can do this with colors, you can do this with elements, and many more things. Now, one of the things that I like to do, and I actually learned about this not too long ago, maybe when I got started with Webflow, and I do this to speed up the development process, is that I can actually create the same style guide that I have on Adobe XD into Webflow. Now, you can also do this with WordPress, but it will depend on the framework that you are using. If you do not have a framework on WordPress that allows you to do this, what you may want to do is to create lists of CSS codes that you will be using throughout every website, so it's easy for you to just duplicate this template and put it into WordPress. That is what I was doing before the new Divi versions whenever I worked on WordPress, where I just created a CSS template that I would just copy and paste into WordPress and just have all my layouts there. But with Webflow, you can actually do this very easily by creating a page that you can call style guide. And I learned this from a Webflow course that I took about 2 years ago by Ran Segel, where he actually created a file and he had all these elements, colors, and all that into it to speed up his process. Now it's very similar to what I do, and I will show you on my screen how I do it. These are a few things that I do when I'm creating a project. It always depends on the size of the project. Like, let's say if I'm working with a creative team like I did sometime last year, they were very used to using InVision app instead of like Google Drive or even the Adobe XD shareable link. So you always have to make sure to adapt to what your clients are looking for or what the whole team is used to working with. If you're working with a one-on-one client, it's a bit differently. That might be a lot easier to just stick to a specific software. If you're working with a larger team, you might want to introduce Slack a little bit, like a Slack start template where you're going to be working with them for feedback and all that. There are so many tools that you may be using, but the whole idea is to make sure that it's all the tools are comfortable for either team. Now, this is the way I started. You can have your own way. So let me know which ways do you do, how do you set up your projects. If you have any questions about it, make sure to comment below and let me know your thoughts. I will see you again on the next video.